Hi there, my name is Jimmy Wikman, and on this channel I talk about ways of working, and I also talk about my passion, which is Atlassian. And in this video I want to talk a little bit about the announcement that Atlassian's data center collection, or data center, and in this video I want to talk a little bit about the end of data center in March 2029. And this one was announced a couple of weeks ago, and while that one technically is another discussion, hello there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Wikman, and on this channel I talk about ways of working and of course my passion, Atlassian. And in this video I want to talk a little bit about the end of data center. Not so much about the end of data center itself, and that will now go sunsetting in 2029, but more on the impact it has on me, for example, as an Atlassian consultant, but also on the different companies that are focusing on Atlassian products. So in the past, for basically all of Atlassian's life cycle, it has been an important part of being an Atlassian consultant or an Atlassian architect to have a fairly broad understanding of operations, hardware, and networks. So, and this is because Atlassian platform has been hosted, self-hosted on these servers and databases. They have been on the network, you have your monitoring tools, you do integrations with other systems within that ecosystem and so on. But now when we are moving away from the hardware and the networks and the monitoring and stuff like that, and moving to cloud to a SaaS product, then the need for that kind of competence will be far less. So many partners, for example, are working quite heavily with migrations and have been for a few years. And that is a big part of what we do and where our income comes from. And the other part is to helping people to optimize their different hostings, making sure that they get the most out of the performance of their data center setups, and also, of course, helping them, supporting them with different monitoring and optimization of other things within their own network and within their own databases. This will all go away in 2029 because there will no longer be any data center solutions left out there, because they will all stop working once the licenses goes out, because then they will become read-only. So what do you do then if you happen to be what I refer to then as a technical architect, that you're sitting on this competence and that competence is no longer required? It will never be a bad thing to know these things, because you will still work with integrations and things like that. So understanding how networks and hardware works is never a bad thing, but it will no longer be required for you to do the job. Remember, when you go to cloud, it is a SaaS product and it's a no-code product. There's nothing that you need to do to actually write any code. There's no hardware that you need to take care of. There's no network that you need to configure. There is not even any monitoring that you can do, because it is all in the cloud. So what does this mean then for people that are very strong in that part of the work, and where do they shift? Because to me, you have, and I'm writing about this one in my book too, so you basically have 5 different categories of people, or categories of roles that you have working in the Atlassian platform. You have your technical architect, where we'll see a lot less need in the future. You have your solution architect that works more on a governance level, working more with how do we create standards and strategies. How do we get people to work the same way across the organization? Then you have the support people that are basically taking requests and just configure whatever the customers or the end users want. And then you have the platform owner or the product owner role there in the center of all 3, and that are now then basically the most important part, that will have both the technical expertise, they will have the business expertise, and they need to have the people expertise. They need to work with the strategies, they need to work with the configuration, they need to understand the platform for it, and they need to also understand the governance and how people work. And they also need to be able then to support the people, the end users for it. And then you have the last one, which is kind of the odd man out here, I think. And I don't necessarily think that everyone will transition to that role, but I think it's a role that will very much appeal to many of the technical architects today. That is the developer role. So today, a lot of people consider developers, Atlassian developers, that they call them, as part of an Atlassian team, which is, well, technically they work with the APIs, it's true, or they work with Forge to build things for Atlassian, but they never actually touch anything Atlassian because it's a no-code platform, so there's nothing for them to do there. So if they transition to that one, they will be working more than with scripting, scripting in one of the apps or one of the many apps that can actually provide scripting inside of the Atlassian platform. They will be working on extending the functionality then with new apps, building them through Forge. Or maybe they will become integration engineers instead, or integration architects, and more work with how do we connect data from different systems, where Atlassian will be one. So where do these people go, and what does their path look like? Because they are stars at what they are doing most likely, and they have a lot of experience, and that will now become less useful for them. So we'll probably see a bunch of people that will see their value within the Atlassian ecosystem go down quite dramatically. And we'll probably see other roles that will go up dramatically. I think that one of the most undervalued one right at the moment are the solution architects that actually build standards and ways of working. Because I don't see a lot of them, I don't hear a lot about them. We mostly have support people and we have technical architects. So it will be interesting to see where do these people actually end up. And the other thing is then, where do partners go? They have the same problem because they have made most of their businesses is about technical architecture. So how do we set things up? And we have seen a lot of shift over towards more solution architects that will talk more about how to do things and how to work together. But I feel that most of them are just configuring systems or helping them to configure things, which is more in the support area. I see less and less people actually understanding, or even less people caring about how do I make it so everyone can work and not just this individual team. How can I ensure that this organization actually get value from the way people are working, so we don't have basically silos, teams that, or not even teams, groups, because they're not teams even. You have groups that is building their own configuration in a way that they cannot collaborate with others, or maybe they have a small subset of people that actually work together. So the challenge for partners will be to find out, how do I create value when there's less on the technical side? And they need to figure out, how do I get either to the solution design position, where not a lot of people actually are yet, or maybe even to the platform owner, where you actually work with strategies, because most people just configure and do things. So I usually say that you have 99%, maybe that's a little bit harsh, 95% of all people that work with Atlassian work on the operational level, and only 5% actually work on the strategic level. And I think we need to see a shift from partners to actually move from those 95% of operations and take a little bit more action on the strategic one, because that's where also most companies suffer. And so it's going to be an interesting shift. So the next 2 years, I think, will be kind of the same. But then in 2029, something big is going to happen, I think, or maybe in 2028, because these companies need to change. partners need to change because we no longer have the option or the luxury to do migrations. We don't have the luxury options to actually work with networks and operationals. And because they are gone, those days have vanished. We don't have any business there anymore. And it's time for all partners to pivot and try to figure out, how do I replace that income that I used to have for that one? And where are the new business ventures that I can actually get into? And how can I better help my customers on the cloud? So for me, I feel that my position is fairly secure. I already have transitioned to solution design. I'm already a platform owner, and that is why I'm writing a book about it. And I'm hoping that more and more people that are currently working as administrators, that maybe are stuck in the support or maybe in the technical architect role, will find it useful and interesting to actually transition either to the left over to solution design and platform owner, or to the right, going then more towards the development and integration part. So that was my kind of rant for this one today. I hope that you found it a little bit interesting. And if you like these kind of thoughts, I will try to make a few more of them. But I will also make some guides again. I promise. I will not just sit here and rant. I will actually show you how to do things also in the platform. So for now, I just hope that you will have a great day and awesome week.